Most people were introduced to Lisa Vanderpump for the first time in 2010 when The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills premiered on Bravo. Chances are you're familiar with the voices of Disney's popular characters, as they were likely a big part of your childhood or your children's childhood. Audiences were drawn to her sarcasm, her honesty, and her lavish lifestyle, and to this day, Lisa is one of the most beloved women to ever appear on the franchise. While her involvement on RHOBH is what she is most well known for, it is just one of the many facets of Lisa's fascinating and ever-evolving world. Not only did you hear their voices on the big screen, but often also in sequels, toys, commercials, video games and theme park rides. From a young actress in the UK to a reality TV star, entrepreneur, and activist, Lisa Vanderpump is far more than a privileged housewife. You can probably close your eyes at this very moment and hear these characters belting out a tune or delivering one of their film's famous lines. But what about the actors who voiced these Disney characters? What do you know about them? Disney has been known to turn to household names such as Robin Williams, Tom Hanks, Matthew Broderick and Ellen DeGeneres for some of its voice roles, but sometimes the characters were even more famous than the actors who voiced them. In fact, Lisa is one of the most hard-working and successful women in the public eye. She has become an inspiration to millions and has used her intelligence, creativity, wit, compassion, and honesty to continue to wow her fans. Quick! Name the actors who voiced Ariel or Aladdin. Let's take a trip down memory lane to discover how Lisa Vanderpump has transformed into who she is today. Born in London, Lisa Vanderpump was a full-time drama student at 9 Things for Sure. Lisa Vanderpump was made to be an entertainer. See what we mean? But don't worry, we're here to fill you in on who played the voices behind your favorite Disney characters and what they're doing now. Jodie Benson, Ariel. Mostly a stage actress when she landed the role of Homo sapien wannabe Ariel in The Little Mermaid, Jodie Benson would go on to enjoy a long career in the animation world. Following the success of the Under the Sea movie, which kicked off the Disney Renaissance, Benson lent her voice to various animated TV shows and straight-to-video Disney sequels including The Little Mermaid and Hercules. Benson's biggest role, outside of The Little Mermaid, has been Barbie in Toy Story. As Lisa told the Daily Express, she was born in London and was already in ballet classes by the time she was 3. This was just her first step toward years of training within the performing arts, as she then ended up going to a prestigious drama school for many years. While Lisa claims to have had a regular upbringing, it's very clear that she was not only intelligent, but that she also knew what she wanted for her future. She explained to the Daily Express, "I was advanced for my age, always a year ahead at school." She voiced the classic doll in the franchise's second and third films and is attached to the fourth movie in 2019. "When I was too young to go to high school, rather than repeat a year, at 9 I went to the Corona Academy Drama School, and ended up staying for 8 years. Lisa Vanderpump was a successful young actress in the UK. Ballet classes and drama school were just the beginning of Lisa Vanderpump's successful career as an actress in the UK. By the time she was 13, Lisa snagged her first movie role, playing the daughter of Glenda Jackson's character in 1973's A Touch of Class. She later found work on several television shows, including an ITV series called Kids. Not only was Lisa making great strides in her acting career at a very young age, but she was also making her own money without the help of her parents, as she told the Daily Express. "I did over 100 commercials for brands like Maltesers, Lilt, Britvic 55 and Hamlet Cigars. So by 19 I'd bought myself a flat in Fulham," she shared. "I never had any financial help after leaving home, just a good education and a kick in the ass." Clearly Lisa was a go-getter ever since she was a young girl. "My feeling was to make her smart and loyal and passionate," Benson told NBC New York. "I wanted to make her real." In an episode of Heather McDonald's podcast Juicy Scoop, Lisa said, "I was really together. Not plastic." Speaking of reprising roles, Benson returned to the role of Ariel decades later, this time in the Wreck-It Ralph sequel, Ralph Breaks the Internet. "I kind of very much believed in a strong work ethic." Benson is what you'd call a Disney lifer. Paige O'Hara, Belle. Paige O'Hara's story is similar to that of Jodie Benson. "I had a job since I was like 13, you know? Without Lisa's hard work, determination, and independence, who knows where she would be today." Lisa Vanderpump met husband Ken Todd when she was 21. While Lisa Vanderpump is one of the most beloved Real Housewives, her husband, Ken Todd, is one of the most beloved househusbands. Their connection and devotion to one another pops through the screen, and it comes as no surprise that the second they laid eyes on each other, there were sparks. Lisa told Stassi Schroeder on her podcast Straight Up with Stassi via The Daily Dish that she met Ken through her brother, who, at the time, worked at a nightclub. Lisa explained, "But he was wrong for me in every sense of the word. He was 16 years older than me. Both got their start in Broadway, and both landed their famous Disney roles, in O'Hara's case, Belle in Beauty and the Beast, after catching the ear of Howard Ashman, who scored their respective breakout Disney films. The difference is Disney has stuck with Benson as Ariel all these years, but replaced O'Hara, meaning she's no longer the go-to voice for Belle. How did she take the news? I was very upset," O'Hara told the Las Vegas Review-Journal in 2012, citing her maturing voice as the reason for the switch. "He was a playboy, running around town with his trousers round his ankles. I did have to work really hard and vocalize soprano for hours on end to get it up there. But O'Hara hasn't completely cut off ties with Disney. And I was dating somebody else. However," she noted, "I just looked at him and there was an instant connection." Lisa told Stassi that soon after their initial meeting, she went on a trip to America. Upon returning to London, she bumped into Ken, and he asked her on a date. After their first date, they were engaged about 6 weeks later, and the rest is history. Lisa Vanderpump and Ken Todd grew their family years after Lisa Vanderpump and Ken Todd had their first child, daughter Pandora Vanderpump Sabo. They decided to grow their family and adopted their son, Max. As she shared on Season 7 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Lisa knew she could give birth to more children, but she wanted to adopt. She went on, "And we heard of Max, who was in foster care. She earned a gig as a Disney fine artist thanks to her impressive paintings of Belle. And I just wanted him, I just said I'd have him before I even got there." She noted that she'd attempted to adopt 4 other children during her time in England, but she and Todd weren't approved. And she's been given another crack at Belle in Ralph Breaks the Internet. "I felt like this is a real blessing at this point in my career," O'Hara told MovieWeb. Scott Weinger, Aladdin. Scott Weinger voiced the titular character in the Arab folktale Aladdin in the 90s, around the same time he was playing DJ's boyfriend, Steve, on Full House. "We were turned down because we were too old, and at the time, I think I was 35, she elaborated. Lisa later explained in a blog post for Bravo that adoption was something very familiar to Ken and his family and something they'd wanted to do for some time. Fast forward 2 decades and, wouldn't you know it, Weinger is still voicing Aladdin and still playing Steve. He's the voice of Aladdin in the Disney Infinity video games, has his voice not changed since he first played the character at 17 years old, and he reprised his Full House role in the show's Netflix reboot, Fuller House. But it's behind the camera where he seems to do most of his work the past few years. Weinger has served as a writer and producer on TV series such as the 90210 reboot, The Neighbors, Black-ish and The Muppets. "It wasn't something strange to our family, and we were excited to embrace him to our loving home," Lisa wrote. In 2005, Lisa Vanderpump became a partial owner of SIR. Most Lisa Vanderpump fans are very familiar with her restaurant SIR, due to its presence in her spin-off series Vanderpump Rules. "There were times when I was starting my writing career where I thought, man, why didn't I go to law school?" Weinger told HuffPost. However, SIR was not always owned by Lisa and husband Ken Todd. In fact, it was actually started by restaurateur Guillermo Zapata and his wife, Natalie Puy Zapata, in 1998, according to WeHo. It wasn't until 2005 that Lisa stumbled upon the West Hollywood hotspot and immediately wanted to partner with Zapata and Puy Zapata. Puy Zapata explained to WeHo, "Guillermo called me and said, I just met this couple. They are fabulous and they want to be our partners. But I don't regret it." Chris Sarandon, Jack Skellington. You might have a hard time getting Chris Sarandon to deliver the lines he made famous in The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's not that he's completely put the role of Jack Skellington behind him, though. Far from it, since the release of the stop animation film in 1993, he's voiced the Pumpkin King in several Disney video games. It's just that the former Oscar-nominated actor told Florida Supercon he has a deal with Disney, which prevents him from speaking in Skellington in public without Disney's permission. But Sarandon still answers questions about Skellington and signs tons, and we mean tons, of Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise when doing the comic convention rounds. "Literally every time I go to sign something I go, oh, I've never seen this before," Sarandon told Global News Morning Calgary. Susan Sarandon's ex also keeps busy by making the occasional TV appearance, including on Psych, The Good Wife, Orange is the New Black and, for those who enjoy his voice work, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Simba. Jonathan Taylor Thomas used to be kind of a big deal. He had a hit sitcom with Home Improvement and a rising film career, not to mention teen heartthrob status. His biggest movie was 1994's The Lion King, which saw Thomas voice young Simba in the $968 million worldwide box office smash. But then, in a move you don't see very often in the industry, Thomas took a step back from the limelight. "I'd been going non-stop since I was 8 years old," Thomas told People. "I wanted to go to school, to travel and have a bit of a break." The acting appearances became less frequent and then almost non-existent, except for a few cameos on former Home Improvement co-star Tim Allen's sitcom Last Man Standing. "This lady even told me she has the money inside her purse right here on the patio." And thus, Sir was transformed into what is now one of the most iconic and beautiful restaurants and lounges in the city. Zapata and his wife reportedly owned 50%, and Lisa and Ken owned 50%. Lisa Vanderpump joined the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, presumably in 2010. Lisa Vanderpump was approached about potentially being a cast member of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which had no prior seasons at the time. While on the Skinny Confidential Him and Her podcast, Lisa explained that she initially had no interest in being on the show, but her good friend Jennifer Flavin Stallone, wife of actor Sylvester Stallone, convinced her to go in for the audition. It comes as no surprise that Lisa blew producers away at her audition. Thomas now seems more interested in other aspects of the industry. In fact, she even said that producer Andy Cohen was one of her biggest supporters in making sure she ended up on the show. He's done some directing on Last Man Standing and apparently shopped around a pilot he wrote with fellow Home Improvement actor Zachary Ty Bryan in 2016. In 2017, he was elected to the SAG-AFTRA National Board. She explained, Andy Cohen said, which probably didn't go down that well with some of the other women, a couple of times in interviews, that he wasn't sure about doing Beverly Hills, but he said he green-lit it when he saw my tape because he thought it was a different flavor. And lo and behold, one of the most iconic Real Housewives was born. Lisa Vanderpump's RHOBH spin-off Vanderpump Rules premiered in 2013 after becoming one of the standout stars of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Lisa Vanderpump decided to produce her own spin-off series called Vanderpump Rules. Thomas proves that not everyone is in it for the fame. Irene Badar Pocahontas was such a smash hit at the box office in 1995 that it vaulted mostly unknown actress Irene Badar, who voiced the Native American hero, onto People's Most Beautiful People list that same year. While Lisa is the producer and often appears on the series, the show actually follows a group of friends in their 20s living the Hollywood life. Most of the stars started off as servers at SUR, though their careers eventually changed as the show progressed. In an interview with Time, Lisa was asked why she thought the show had become so successful. She responded, 1. The casting. I knew and I chose these people. What it didn't do, however, was vault Badar onto the A-list. She has enjoyed a quiet but steady career since Hearing the Wolf Cry to the Blue Corn Moon, mostly in smaller TV shows such as The Mist and Longmire, and miniseries Into the West. Some of her bigger post-Pocahontas projects include Tree of Life and Westworld. She was the Ghost Nation mother Weechapi. I knew the stakes would be high because their friendships were real. It was an incestuous situation, and to be that honest, or dishonest, as the case may be, or honest about your dishonesty, is unusual. While the cast of Vanderpump Rules has certainly caused a lot of controversy over the years via Us Weekly, there is no denying that the stars were, at one time, at least, TV gold.
Lisa Vanderpump joined Dancing with the Stars. The year 2013 was a big one for Lisa Vanderpump, as she not only premiered Vanderpump Rules but was also cast on Dancing with the Stars. According to HuffPost, Lisa was the first Real Housewife to have ever been cast on the celebrity dance competition. When asked how she felt about representing the Housewives franchise on Dancing with the Stars, Lisa, who was paired with professional dancer Gleb Savchenko, said, I think we're all individual characters. I don't think it's about representing the show. It's about representing yourself, really, because we're all so different. In a blog post she wrote for Bravo, Lisa addressed the rumors as to why no other Real Housewife had been allowed to be on Dancing with the Stars prior to her casting. She explained, they had always said they would never have a housewife and it was ABC, the competitive network to NBC, who owns Bravo, so I never gave it a second thought. Lisa was ultimately sent home in week 4, as noted by Us Weekly. Lisa Vanderpump opened the Vanderpump Dog Foundation. Lisa Vanderpump has always been an animal lover, but in 2017, she decided to truly invest in the mission of saving dogs by opening the Vanderpump Dog Foundation. Badar also played the co-president of the U.S. According to People. When Lisa became aware of the Yulin Dog Meat Festival in China, she knew she had to do something, and the Vanderpump Dog Foundation came to be. In Jay-Z's star-studded Family Feud music video. To E! News, Lisa explained, "We started Vanderpump Pets, which was a business. We thought I'd really love to go into the pet business. And through that, I was drawn attention to some of the atrocities, and that's kind of taken over my life." She noted, "Until recently, I was naive about the atrocities that are being committed against these wonderful creatures." Something that Lisa has been very grateful for is the support Bravo has given her to promote this cause, allowing her time on the show to share her foundation with fans. "I got to tell my son about this," Badar said in an interview with Indian Country Today. "I hope that will be my legacy," she said in her interview with People. Lisa Vanderpump became editor-in-chief of this magazine in 2017. Lisa Vanderpump became the editor-in-chief of Beverly Hills Lifestyle magazine, a publication she had been writing for since its start 10 years prior. He was like, "What? This project gave me some teenager cool points." Badar continues to lend her voice to Pocahontas, who makes an appearance in Ralph Breaks the Internet. According to Bravo's The Daily Dish, it was a family affair, with Lisa's daughter, Pandora Vanderpump Sabo, appointed as executive editor of the magazine. In an official statement, Lisa was beyond thrilled to announce her newest venture, calling it not only an honor but a delight. She went on, "The magazine has always been the epitome of luxury, and I cannot wait for all the exciting things we have planned for its 10-year anniversary relaunch." And, of course, she noted that she was excited about working alongside her daughter, Pandora, at what has always been her favorite publication. The magazine's team seemed just as thrilled at having Lisa join, posting on Instagram that having Lisa accept the role is a dream come true. Lisa Vanderpump coped with the death of her brother Mark Vanderpump. Lisa Vanderpump has always been very open about having a close relationship with her brother Mark, who sadly took his own life in 2018, suffering an apparent overdose at his home in England. This was a devastating loss for Lisa that not only changed her life, but also put her priorities into perspective. In an interview with People, Lisa discussed the great loss and said, "To lose my brother unexpectedly with no closure or conversation is like a relationship ripped out of your arms." There's a Disney princess reunion in that movie, in case you haven't caught on by now. Tom Hulce, Quasimodo. Just because Tom Hulce has been MIA from the big screen doesn't mean he's gone into isolation like the character he voiced in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Grieving takes time. Lisa's tragic loss then propelled her to work with the Trevor Project, a nonprofit organization with a mission of suicide prevention for LGBTQ+ youth. In 2019, Lisa released an official PSA for the Trevor Project on her Instagram, encouraging fans to get help should they need to. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK, 8255. Lisa Vanderpump left The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after 9 years on the hit series The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Lisa Vanderpump decided it was finally time to say her goodbyes in 2019. In an interview with People, Lisa opened up about her reason for leaving the show. "I had a great time on Housewives," she explained.
The former Oscar-nominated actor, who voiced Notre Dame bell ringer Quasimodo in the 1996 film, has gone into theater producing after falling out of love with acting. "Some things shifted, and I never want to act again," Hulce told Page 6. "But to have negativity during a time in my life when I needed to try to be positive. Loved it but no more. I decided it was over. On top of all of that, things were truly getting nasty between the women, especially with the massive drama between her and Dorit Kemsley over a dog Dorit adopted from Vanderpump Dogs. After being called harsh names by her castmates, she decided it was time to make a change. I haven't acted in 15 years. My awards are in a trunk here, shelf there. Unlike others on the list, it doesn't appear Hulce will voice his Disney character again." She told People, "I've been in a position where the whole cast has been against me before. He hasn't done so since the film's sequel in 2002. Another actor, Ari Rubin, played Quasimodo in Kingdom Hearts 3D. Hulse is busy enjoying the second act of his career, which earned him a 2007 Best Musical Tony for Spring Awakening, Is That Award in His Trunk Too? And 2010 Best Musical Tony nomination for the Green Day-inspired American Idiot. But this time, our foundation was taking a bashing from the women, and it didn't deserve it. And with how the women acting, screaming and shouting, while they were in the Bahamas, she realized, what the hell am I doing? And so she left the series. Lisa Vanderpump lost her beloved dog Gigi. As we all know, Lisa Vanderpump's dogs are one of the most important parts of her life, which is why the death of her dog Gigi was extremely painful for both her and her husband, Ken Todd. In December of 2020, Lisa announced Gigi's devastating passing on her Instagram page and said, "We are devastated to say that our beloved Gigi has passed away this morning." His Temptations-inspired jukebox musical, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, is heading to Broadway in 2019. Looks like the career change paid off. Ming Na Wen, Mulan. Ming Na Wen is further proof that once you're a Disney princess, you're always a Disney princess. Since voicing the titular role in 1998's Mulan, Wen has voiced the Chinese warrior in a sequel, Mulan 2, animated series, Sophia the First, video games, Kingdom Hearts 2, and again on the big screen, Ralph Breaks the Internet. He was truly loved, and we know how many of you loved him too. She went on to say that Gigi was the inspiration behind the Vanderpump Dogs Foundation, noting that his legacy will live on, at the organization. Gigi wasn't just a dog, he was a member of her family, and he will now be fondly remembered not just by Lisa, but by millions of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans. With the death of both her brother and mother, her sudden departure from RHOBH, and the death of Gigi, Lisa experienced a very painful few years. Lisa Vanderpump announced a new television show on E! After Lisa Vanderpump experienced some challenging years, things soon started looking up. In 2021, she announced her newest venture, a television show on E! Called Overserved with Lisa Vanderpump. We're excited. According to Entertainment Tonight, the 30-minute episodes will feature Lisa interviewing a variety of celebrities in her own garden in Beverly Hills while they talk, make cocktails, play games, eat delicious food, and more. She does sit on the fence, but Disney always considers her a princess in an honorary way, Wen told TV Guide. Lisa explained further in the show's first teaser, saying, "I'm inviting you to an intimate dinner party, and for it to be perfect, I have a few rules. You've got to bust your butt for the decor to be absolutely fabulous, the guests should be naughty, but the hostess must always be naughtier. This dinner party rules. This looks like it will be a great new beginning for Lisa." Overserved with Lisa Vanderpump premieres on March 18, 2021. Mulan isn't technically a princess, she's the daughter of a military hero. I'm so glad they cheated a little and let me in the club. As for the live-action Mulan film, Wen is thrilled it's in the works, even if she's not currently involved. I love the fact that they want to forge ahead and do something with an Asian character that's furthering that storyline, Wen told GameSpot. But Mulan isn't the only Disney butt-kicker on Wen's resume. She co-stars on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Agent Melinda May. Just how physical is the role? Wen told GameSpot she has snapped her ACL and meniscus and chipped teeth during filming. Ouch. Tony Goldwyn. Tarzan co-director Kevin Lima told Entertainment Weekly he chose Tony Goldwyn for the voice of the shirtless jungle hero after sitting through countless auditions, including 2 from Brendan Fraser, thanks to his animal sense. As is the norm for Disney voice actors, Goldwyn would return to the role in video games, including Kingdom Hearts.
In recent years, Goldwyn has become better known as one-third of the love triangle on Scandal, where he played POTUS Fitz Grant. Surprisingly, the show is the first in which Goldwyn, who has appeared on shows without a trace, The L Word and Dexter, among others, was a series regular. Goldwyn told Fansided, "Getting to play a character like Fitz and being part of a show like this in my 50s surprised me. Especially a character that's sort of a sex symbol." Scandal wrapped up its 7-season run in 2018, freeing Goldwyn up to hit the stage in Broadway's network, opposite Bryan Cranston, and Netflix's upcoming series Chambers, starring Uma Thurman. Davy Chase, Lilo. The part of Hawaiian orphan Lilo in Lilo and Stitch proved to be a breakout role for Davy Chase, who was only 11 when the film was released in 2002. She reprised the role in the animated series, sequels and video games, while also finding work outside of Disney. Believe it or not, she played creepy ghost Samara in The Ring and the underage bride of a cult leader in HBO's Big Love. It appeared to be going so well for the child star, but then she started making headlines for all the wrong reasons. First she was arrested, but never charged, in 2017 after dumping a man outside of a hospital, where he would be pronounced dead, according to the Blast. That same year, Chase was booked on a felony charge for driving in a car without the owner's consent. Then she followed that joyride up with a misdemeanor charge of possession of a controlled substance. Chase continues to act every now and then, but in lesser-known films such as Jack Goes Home and American Romance.